You believe that someone once survived being thrown into a cauldron of boiling oil. This is not a legend or a fabricated tale, but a terrifying event tied to St. John the Apostle, one of the central figures of the Christian faith. How did he overcome this seemingly impossible ordeal? And what profound message lies hidden behind this extraordinary story? In today's video, we will unveil secrets and explore the marvel of this miraculous survival. Don't miss out. This story will leave you astonished. Don't forget to hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell today to ensure you don't miss any exciting videos from our channel. 6. This is where you will discover inspiring revelations, wondrous stories, and profound lessons about the Bible, faith, and sacred mysteries you've never known. Join us on a journey to unlock the doors to knowledge and understanding. In its earliest days, Christianity was merely a small sect within the Jewish community, formed by those who believed in the teachings and resurrection of Jesus Christ. From the beginning, divisions and disagreements arose between the early Christian believers and Jewish leaders, especially regarding adherence to traditional laws. One of the most tragic events of this period was the death of Stephen, regarded as the first Christian martyr. According to the Acts of the Apostles in the Bible, Stephen, a man full of faith and power, was accused of blasphemy for preaching about Jesus. Around 35 AD, Stephen was sentenced to death by Jewish religious leaders for failing to strictly adhere to Jewish laws and traditions. He was stoned to death by an enraged mob. Remarkably, among the witnesses was Saul, who later became St. Paul, one of Christianity's greatest figures. The Bible records Saul approved of their killing him, Acts 8:1. Stephen's martyrdom marked the beginning of a harsher persecution of Christianity. It symbolized not only oppression but also a turning point in shaping the history of the faith. Yet it was precisely this suffering that accelerated Christianity's spread beyond Jerusalem, as believers were forced to migrate, carrying the message of Christ to distant lands. Stephen's martyrdom showcased not only his courage and steadfast faith but also a profound lesson in forgiveness. As recorded in Acts 7:60, he prayed, "Lord, do not hold this sin against them," mirroring Jesus' forgiveness on the cross and inspiring generations of Christians. In his letters, St. Paul did not hesitate to recount the sufferings and persecutions he endured after abandoning Judaism to follow Christianity. In his second letter to the Corinthians, he wrote, "5 times I received from the Jews the 40 lashes minus 1. 3 times I was beaten with rods. Once I was stoned. 3 times I was shipwrecked. A night and a day I spent in the open sea." 2 Corinthians 11:24-25. These hardships not only stand as proof of Paul's courage, but also illustrate the brutal persecutions faced by the early Christian believers. In 41 AD, Herod Agrippa I ascended the throne as king of the Jews, inheriting a vast kingdom that included territories previously ruled by Herod Antipas and Philip. He sought to consolidate his power and gain the support of the Jewish people by restoring the kingdom of Judea, established earlier by Herod the Great. However, to maintain good relations with the Jewish leadership, Herod Agrippa continued the policy of persecuting Christianity. It was Herod Agrippa who ordered the execution of the Apostle James, the son of Zebedee, and imprisoned the Apostle Peter. The Bible states, "He caused some of the believers in the church to suffer. James, the brother of John, he had beheaded." Acts 12:1-2. During this chaotic period, Christians faced life-threatening dangers. St. Phoebe, a prominent female believer in the early Christian community, narrowly escaped death thanks to the timely intervention of other believers. Meanwhile, many other apostles were forced to flee Jerusalem to escape intense persecution and continued their missionary work in other regions. The early years of Christianity under the reign of Herod Agrippa were not only marked by persecution but also by the remarkable resilience of the believers. Despite facing life-threatening dangers, Christians held firm in their faith, and this steadfastness became the key that allowed Christianity to overcome obstacles and spread throughout the Mediterranean region, laying the foundation for an enduring faith. In 44 AD, after the death of Herod Agrippa, Judea fell into the hands of Roman governors, marking the beginning of a relatively peaceful period that lasted nearly 2 decades. However, this period was not without unrest. When Governor Porcius Festus died in 62, the power vacuum provided an opportunity for simmering conflicts to flare up. In this context, the controversial high priest Anan ben Anan used his power to attack the Christian church in Jerusalem. He ordered the execution of Jacob, also known as James the Just, the leader of the Christian community, revered for his piety and steadfast leadership. According to the historian Josephus, Jacob's death sparked a wave of outrage in the community, with even non-Christian Jews criticizing Anan's actions. During this time, St. Paul also faced fierce persecution. According to the New Testament, Paul was repeatedly imprisoned by the Romans and endured brutal punishments. Paul was once stoned by the Pharisees, a radical religious group seeking to eliminate him for preaching salvation through Jesus Christ. The climax of Paul's suffering came when he was brought to Rome facing the Colosseum. This place was not only a symbol of Roman power, but also the blood-soaked ground of the condemned. Amid the roaring crowd, Paul faced a horrific death, yet he remained steadfast in his faith. While the New Testament does not record the final details of his death, Christian tradition holds that he was beheaded during Emperor Nero's reign. That day in the arena, Emperor Nero promised the crowd an unprecedented spectacle. Rumors quickly spread. A man of unwavering faith would face a life-or-death challenge. The great question hanging in the air was whether the God he worshipped would save him from the harsh judgment of the Roman Empire. In the vast arena, where the roars of thousands of spectators filled the air, St. John stood firm. His gaze was calm, as though untouched by the hatred or excitement of the crowd. His heart was steadfast, filled with faith, not in a miracle, but in the will of God. Unlike others condemned, he had not come to fight gladiators or face wild beasts. His trial lay in the judgment of the emperor, a battle without weapons, where only faith stood against absolute power. The crowd, accustomed to blood and death, now awaited something different, a symbol of courage and unshakable faith. The cheers subsided as all eyes turned to St. John, who was about to step into history as a living testament to human spiritual strength in the face of tyranny. But what happened next? A miracle or a tragedy? Let's delve into this story to uncover the mystery of this unforgettable historical moment. Paul's unwavering dedication and loyalty to his faith have become a source of inspiration for millions of believers across generations. The sufferings he endured not only proved the strength of his faith, but also laid the foundation for Christianity to overcome the harsh challenges of political and religious powers. When St. John was thrown into the boiling cauldron of oil, all eyes were fixed on him, awaiting a bloody and painful end. But instead of heart-wrenching screams, an eerie silence enveloped the scene. The crowd in the arena suddenly held its breath, and all cheering fell silent. And then the miraculous, unexpected event happened. From the boiling cauldron, St. John emerged, unscathed, unburned, with no sign of pain. The scorching oil seemed to transform into a refreshing coolness under the miraculous protection. The crowd erupted in astonishment. But this time the shouts were not for death, but for the awe-inspiring miracle they had just witnessed with their own eyes. A person could never survive such a horrific punishment, yet St. John did. He stood there alive, a living testament to a power beyond all earthly authority and violence. The emperor's face suddenly changed, a mix of anger and fear. Not only did he fail to break St. John's spirit or body, but he unwittingly transformed him into a living symbol of Christianity's power. In that moment, the empire's power seemed to fade before the unshakable faith and divine protection. This miracle not only enhanced Christianity's status in the eyes of the crowd, but also made people begin to question, who truly holds the power, the emperor or a higher force? Unable to harm St. John further, Emperor Herod had to alter his strategy. Instead of executing him as originally planned, he ordered John's exile to the barren and harsh island of Patmos, used as a place of isolation and punishment for those deemed dangerous. However, for St. John, that barren island became a sanctuary. On Patmos, he found a deeper connection with God and received divine revelations, later recorded in the Book of Revelation, one of the most important books of the Bible. The story of St. John is not just a testament to unwavering faith, but also a symbol of overcoming adversity through courage and divine protection from God. Saint John was the only apostle who did not die at the hands of persecutors, despite being tortured and repeatedly sentenced to death. His miraculous survival not only served as a great encouragement for early Christian believers, but also stood as a living testament that sincere faith is always protected. After the death of Emperor Herod, St. John was allowed to return from the island of Patmos and continue his mission, leading the Christian community in Ephesus. He lived to a ripe old age, believed to be around 80, passing away peacefully. The legacy of St. John lies not only in his sermons and sacred writings, but also in his shining example of the strength of faith and perseverance against violence and injustice. His name will forever be remembered as an immortal symbol of hope and courage. The story of St. John has become an enthralling and miraculous legend. Was it the miracle that saved him from the boiling cauldron, or his unwavering resilience in the face of tyranny that created this legend? Or is it the profound message about the power of faith that transcends all challenges? The answer lies in the combination of all these elements, turning his story into an immortal symbol of courage and divine protection. If this story has inspired and excited you, don't forget to hit like, share, and subscribe to keep exploring the wonders and miracles of Christian history with us. Be sure to turn on notifications so you don't miss any videos. The journey of discovery holds countless secrets awaiting you. The story of St. John doesn't end with the early events. After returning from Patmos, he continued to serve the church at Ephesus and spread the message of Jesus Christ to all. The miracle is that while the other apostles faced persecution and tragic deaths, St. John survived. God chose him to deliver the revelation of the apocalypse through the book of Revelation, and despite witnessing the deaths of his companions, he remained steadfast in faith in God and his grand plan for those who believe. The story of St. John is not only a miracle of surviving the death in a boiling cauldron, but also a testament to the power of faith overcoming every wicked plot. Despite being poisoned and exiled, he returned to his followers and continued teaching. What's remarkable here is the stark contrast between death and St. John's miraculous survival. A man thrown into a boiling cauldron should have been burned and destroyed, but St. John stood firm, preaching about God's eternal love, leaving even those who sought to harm him astonished. The journey from an ordinary fisherman to the trusted apostle of Christ is a grand story of perseverance and loyalty. It serves as a clear testament that those who stand firm in their faith will always be protected and honored. The book of Revelation is not merely a prophecy, but a reminder to all believers that we must hold firm in our faith in God, even in the darkest of times. If it were you, would you have the courage to face challenges like St. John, from being cast into boiling oil to being forced to drink poison? His story is a profound lesson, a wake-up call for all of us that, no matter what trials we face, faith in God's salvation is our eternal hope. Lord, grant us peace and wisdom to understand the things we are sharing. Guide us in every step, helping us to maintain faith and love. May every word and action of ours bring light and hope to the world. Amen.